Well, welcome to New Thought Talk. I am one of your hosts, the Reverend Steve Walling, and we have with us today, joining us by Skype, is Michael J. Allen, and Michael's going to be with me on an ongoing regular basis, or I'm going to be with him on an ongoing regular basis. I don't know how that works out, but it's going to be good. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Thank you, Reverend Steve. It works out because there's no separation. Wherever we go, there we are.
Oh, you're looking good, Michael. Sitting out there in the coastal area. Hey, how's the weather out that way?
You know, it rained all day yesterday. We were up in Sacramento, and the river was overflowing. Traffic was really, really bad, and it rained most of the day. And now it's just beautiful and gorgeous and green. Loving it.
Absolutely beautiful. God's gift to the world, man. Sunshine and rain. Doesn't get any better than that. Except when it's not. Anyway, Michael, I am so glad that, we've been working on this for quite a while. And, it just works out in God's time that we finally hit this point of connection. And I'm really glad that you've joined me on the show, and I'm looking forward. We got a lot of good stuff to share, and just I'm almost speechless, Michael. But anyway, what I want to talk about today is you're going to be joining us here in the Fresno area on Wednesday evenings, doing something incredibly special. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Incredibly special. Thank you. Reverend Steve, what we've been talking about the last few months is just working together and finding a way to become partners in this thing called life, in our journey to become more who we are as God beings. And you see it in me, I see it in you, and we want to play together. So, I think that clearly that's something that Spirit has orchestrated as well, because things have to line up to happen. They have to come into alignment to happen. And, over the last 6 months, so many, sort of emotional, painful things have happened to me. Not that they are negative things, but relationships have changed, mindsets have changed, my personality has changed. Things I've learned have been, challenging for me. But because I pray for more, I want more. I ask for more. I want to continue to expand and grow. I don't like complacency. I don't like to be at one level. I like to keep ascending. And one of the things that helps me continue to ascend as I go through life's changes is to practice the principles that I learned from spiritual mind treatment, that I learned from science of mind, that I learned from all my work as a holistic healing body worker. There's so many things I've learned about healing myself, not about healing others. I have no passion to go out and heal the world. I only have a passion to be in the presence of healing for the world. So my work is always on me. And when there are challenges and changes in relationships like I've had in the last 6 months, that means I got to do my work. I have to work more internally on being the vibration I want to be. It's not about what changes in the world or in my relationships, because there's really only one relationship, and the one I have with myself and God. And if that relationship is in alignment, everything else works perfectly and great. So the timing has come from our continuous talking, commitment, our own individual and collective passion for science mind, for metaphysical practices, not just talking about them, but practicing them. I'm excited about that with you. And God put me here to speak. God put me here to learn my way with love. And I can't learn what that is if I don't have people around me bouncing my energy off of them to determine if what I'm bouncing off of them is love or pain, suffering, or whatever it is. energy goes out, it comes back, and there's the feedback. So, but you can't do that in a cave by yourself. You got to do that with people. So, spiritual mind treatment is the foundation of what I keep using to keep my mind focused. And the midweek heart, soul, and mind workout is about practicing principles. That's all it is, man. Pray, meditate, chant, read, look at people, see God in people, change your mind, open your heart. I mean, if we're practicing that on a daily basis, can you imagine if we collectively come together, commit to practicing open hearts, clearing minds, anointing of souls, and seeing that in others, we're nothing but high vibrational beings. So for me, it's in the practice. I don't want to do it alone. I'm inviting everybody who's willing uh, to stand and pray and meditate together collectively and to see the truth. You know, we know that in this metaphysical world, you have to do your work. You have to do your work, and you have to say what you want the universe to bring you.
That's absolutely true, Michael. You know, one of the things I often like to refer people to in the Science of Mind, what we call the textbook, is to be found on page 423, and it's the conclusion to the to what Holmes entitled a general summary. And he says, in conclusion, what the world needs is spiritual conviction followed by spiritual experience. He says, I would rather see a student of this science prove its principles than to have him repeat all the words of wisdom that have ever been uttered. It's far easier to teach the truth than it is to practice the truth. And it's in the practice that we do the demonstration and we do the proving. And in another part of the book, Holmes also says you can only know that it's true when you have at once proved the truth of it. And that's what it's all about. You know, there's been so much, my personal feeling, so much over the last 20 or 30 years where people have allowed themselves, because there really is a lot of feel-good stuff within New Thought, Science of Mind, and it really is feel-good stuff, but it's not putting into practice the truth of what it is that it teaches. It's not creating and seeing the demonstration of prayer treatment, seeing the demonstration of our meditations and affirmations, seeing it play out in life. And I think in so many ways people have kind of sidestepped the demonstration, not intentionally necessarily, but just because it feels good to talk about good stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely understand.
So what you're bringing to the table, you know, and we've spent a lot of time talking about this, you're coming, well, I think we both really are coming at this from a direction of let's put this principle, this incredible principle into practice. And as we work with people, it's not just about teaching people, but it's about helping them find their way to this point of personal experience where they do it in their lives and they see the demonstration and they experience God working through them and creating their life in a more enlightened and better way, if you will. So, you know, I'm really looking forward. You're going to be joining us the 22nd of February, and we are located at 4644 West Jennifer Street. That's here in Fresno, near Shaw and 99. Now, you're going to start about 6:30, right, Michael?
Oh, yeah. Doors will be open at 6:30. That would be an opportunity to come on in and get ready for meditation. You know, I've been meditating since I was 19 years old, and I didn't have a meditation teacher. I just had this curiosity about it. But I can remember when I began to understand the power of an altar. I can remember when I can begin to figure out meditation. So I would prepare myself to meditate. I would make sure that there was no distractions around me. I would make sure that I was alone. Of course, I was embarrassed, not knowing that, you know, at 19 years old, Black people did meditate. Never knew that. Naive. But I was so curious and passionate about it. I did it by myself and I did it privately. So I learned to have some relationship with catching thought. and releasing thought. I learned to have some relationship with the difference between my thought and thoughts moving through my awareness. I learned how my body would be different, how my personality and my demeanor would be different when I meditated. And I didn't know that until I started being with people who meditated. You know, I didn't talk about meditation. I didn't give the feedback about my experiences to anyone. So I didn't know the whole experience until I started meditating with a bunch of people at Agape back in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
So then that collective energy around meditation in so many ways it just blew my heart open, because it was a vibration that I could not explain to you, but I absolutely knew and felt. And I knew it came from meditation, but to feel that it came from a collective consciousness, from a number of people who had the same commitment to meditate together and raise the vibration just in that building alone. It's like, well, walk in there and feel the vibe of pure spirit from people having that intention. That's a powerful thing. I'd much rather do that than talk about our great president today.
I hear you.
Because we'll get so much more out of it. We'll get the joy and the love and the connection with spirit. From focusing on our inner life and not being distracted from our outer life. And that's what spiritual practice is, Reverend Steve, is to turn away from the outer world, to turn away from the world of appearances, to turn away from the stimulation of human conditions and circumstances, and find that divine intelligence within us, that soul presence within us, that love that never stops within us, and open up to it. You know? Like open our arms, our heart, and our body, and our mind to God's vibration within us. You know, we take God for granted. I wake up every day. I woke up this morning and the first thing on my mind was God. And I said to myself, wow, you know, whew, what a blessing.
You know,
blessing. The first thing on my mind is being grateful that I'm alive and that God giving me another opportunity to do a day, you know.
How incredible that is, you know, when people start their day. And, you know, we're gonna have to cut away to a break here in just a second. But before we do that, in the next segment, I want to go back and work this concept of meditation a little bit deeper, because it is such a significant part of a metaphysical lifestyle in spiritual practices. And yet, you know, you look in the books, like Ernest Holmes, he talks about it, but it's not like he lays out a major emphasis in meditation. And yet, you know, when we open in the first two, you know, parts of what we call spiritual mind treatment, he refers to those as the meditative, you know, part of the treatment, but he really doesn't get into it, my personal opinion, at a level that makes, it's kind of like, I guess what I'm trying to say, Michael, is, you know, sometimes we need to slap ourselves upside the head and say, you know, knock this stuff off, you know, clear the mind out, sit in the silence, and allow and accept. Don't try to control. Don't try to, you know, be in control. Don't try to be a part of the physicalness, the exterior. Just find that quiet place within, because that's where we make that connection to our source. So anyway, we're going to cut away to our first break, Michael, and we'll be back very shortly.
All right.
Brittany's Bark Avenue Pet Grooming. Top quality grooming for dogs of all sizes. 12 years of combined experience with dog shows and pet grooming. Specializing in breed trims and hand scissoring. Brittany's Bark Avenue Pet Grooming is open Tuesdays through Saturdays and is located at 5730 North 1st Street, Suite number 115. Visit barkavenuefresno.com or call 559-709-7279. Christy Majors is your local real estate connection. With a solid, hardworking team, traditional listings, short sales, probate listings, and foreclosures are treated in a personal and caring way and close in a timely fashion. Since 2009, Team Majors has closed more than $75 million worth of homes all over California. Reliable and trustworthy, Christy and her team will go the extra mile for every client, whether selling or buying a home. So give Team Majors a call at 559-464-5606 or visit teammajors.com. Need a dentist? Call Dr. David Wright at 559-222-6213 or visit bitemedental.com.
The Fifth Quarter, a restaurant and sports bar in Visalia. 24 of your favorite beers on tap and a full bar. Entertainment for all. Pool tables, karaoke, a DJ, and even a drag show. Watch the game with us and get some great food. Burgers, sushi, and much more. Don't wait for overtime. Head into the Fifth Quarter for a great time today.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Welcome back. It's New Thought Talk. Michael Allen, Assistant Minister of the Spiritual Awareness Center, is my partner in spirituality. And he's here today. Go ahead and bring Michael's picture up. We're having a little trouble with video, so I got this amazing picture of this incredible being, and I put it up in his place, and there's some people that might recognize what that is. Michael, welcome back. And so anyway, when we cut away, we're talking about meditation, and you had some really good points to make in the break. So I'm just going to let you pick up the ball and run with it, because meditation, it is a tool. It's a powerful tool when we use it as a powerful tool. So go ahead, Michael, and kind of fill in some of the background on this, if you would.
Thank you. Well, the reason meditation is so powerful is because everything begins in our mind. Everything begins in our mind. And our mind is related to the universe. It's related to the world. The mind is endless. So our responsibility to the mind is to be mindful of how we're relating to ourselves and others, how we're relating to our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions. So mindfulness, today's word for managing our thoughts, feelings, and emotions, gives us an opportunity to practice really understanding the power of thought, to practice really understanding our sensations and how they turn into feelings and how that turns into a repetitive belief system. But there's a lot of layers to how mindfulness practice can absolutely change the way you relate to your internal self, mentally, emotionally, and physically, because you're paying attention to your feedback to life. You're mindful of how words affect you, tones affect you, smells, sounds, and you can relate those things to how you're responding to the world as opposed to reacting to the world because you get triggered by something or something happens that ignites these feelings inside you that you have not harnessed, that you have not had a relationship to, you sort of avoided, or you just allowed them to exist without any interaction, and they become these things you are afraid of, as opposed to these things you relate to, learn from, and transform with, So mindfulness is a great way to not get stuck in our circumstances, our conditions, our traumas, our pain. It takes focus on our internal being to release the pain and suffering of what has happened to us. No one else can do that for us. We must stand in our own mindfulness, stand in our own body, and begin to take responsibility for our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Therefore, not being triggered by the world, but being in the world and not of the world, but allowing ourselves to be a co-creative participant in the world. If we are in our presence, in our wholeness, if we are not triggered by the world's circumstances and effects, we are in such alignment with God, I believe, that our life just happens in a much more harmonious, happy, and joyous way. And it happens effortlessly because we are participating with life. We aren't avoiding things in our life because they are too scary or too painful or there's too much suffering. We are so excited about facing what within us is nothing more than a guidance system toward what we really want, that we become a student of our life. We're not victims. But we're just like these personal agents of God expressing truth within us. Don't let me get started. Right, Steve. I don't want to go too far from people, because I start talking about where I'm at.
Well, I hear you, Michael, and I'm enjoying just sitting here and experiencing what you have to share, because it's powerful. And
The person out there, that's hearing my voice and that is interested in their own spiritual walk, spiritual talk, spiritual wordplay, I want to say to that person, you're already in and on your spiritual journey. It isn't something different or new than where you're at. There isn't something that you haven't experienced that is not a spiritual part of your spiritual journey. It all is.
absolutely.
All you got to do is shift your awareness, shift your focus, shift your consciousness to only stay focused on what's true.
Absolutely,
And,
Michael.
and what's true is you have to find facts for what's true. You have to find evidence for what's true. And you have to practice truth so that it can be sustained in your consciousness.
Oh, absolutely, Michael. And through the various practices of religious science of mind, there are tools that people can learn to use and utilize, because you're right, we're already there. What we have to do is recognize the there that's there, and
Right.
that's the purpose of the practices and putting the tools into practice. And it's not really that Science of Mind has the only answers. There's many different roads to that particular point of self-realization, but they're good answers. They're available, and they are, in my opinion, easily embodied for someone. But it all starts with a choice. When you talk about people within the sound of your voice that hear this, there are those in the sound of your voice that will hear this and it will resonate with them. And there are those that it's like just kind of background noise. And so,
Brandon,
what's that?
you know, anybody who goes fishing, everybody's got a different fishing pole, right?
Yeah.
But everybody's going fishing. We're fishing for something in life.
Mm-hmm.
So we all got this pole that we're throwing out into the world to fish what we want out of the world, no matter what that is.
Yeah.
Emotions, relationships, money, well, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
We're throwing our pole out in the world, and we're putting the kind of bait on there that's going to get us the fish we want, right?
You got it.
Okay. Now, here's the thing I learned about fishing. When my father used to take me fishing, his goal was not catching fish. His goal was enjoying fishing.
Oh, enjoying yeah, you got it.
He wasn't out for the game of fishing. He liked that fishing created this opportunity for him to feel very comfortable that he's just in the world and he's fishing.
That is, Michael, that's a great metaphor for life itself. So many people are caught up with the end of the whatever, the end of this week so I can have the weekend, the end of this pay period so I got money to spend, the end of whatever. And they miss the fact that the journey is where the experience and the expression is. And so we get to the end, and the end's never satisfying, because we get to that end and we're going to want something beyond that end. And it will maybe give us momentary satisfaction, but when we fail to stop and smell the roses, if you will, if we fail to be in the moment, people like to say be in the now, but be in this moment, practicing the presence, if you will, of the divine expressing itself as me, through me, in this moment. What is that like? And I ask that question when I say, what is that like? Because most people, they don't think about that. They don't think about what is that like. They just say, well, I've got to get through this. I've got to get to my next appointment. Michael, we've got half hour. The show's going to be over. I got a whole list of things I got to do, yada, yada, yada. But yet, in the midst of this, I'm having a great time sharing this conversation with you. there's a spiritual lesson that's being presented to people, but there's a connection between you and I. Even though we're spanning, many miles of distance, we're doing it through electronic media. To fail to be in this moment, to realize the good that we have here is it's a loss, and you can't recapture that. And through the teachings that you bring through mindfulness, the teachings that we teach through affirmations, being in the moment, understanding the power of making choice, the understanding that you have power. You have power of God expressing as you, through you, but it's not last week and it's not tomorrow. It's right here, right now. And it's being there fishing, enjoying the fishing. And speaking of that, you'll have to come up and do some fishing with us up in the mountains.
Yeah, I can do that.
I do. I've often gone out and just enjoyed the day, and it's not that I don't like catching the fish, but it's just there's so much when you are aware of what's going on, when you're aware of the divinity as you, when you're aware of the expression of God through you, when you're aware that you are so much more than what you're even aware of, that you are an incredible being with so much resource available to you. We talk about this principle that we call God being everywhere present. We talk about this power that we call God being all power. We talk about this wisdom that we call God being all knowledge. And yet I think sometimes we just kind of flash over that in our thinking about it. But when we stop and we really contemplate on it, when we attempt to, and I say attempt because with a few exceptions, most of us, it is an attempt. We haven't mastered it. There are a few people. We know them from history. We know Jesus from history. We know other people from history that have elevated their consciousness to a more masterful consciousness. But that's our journey. There is an urge, I believe, that's planted within each and every one of us to make that connection on some level, some way, in this expression that we call our life. And
well, let me share why midweek wordplay is so important. We have to keep participating with energy. We have to continue to move energy, and that can look in so many different ways. And when you talk about everyone's individual spiritual journey, it simply is that. It's individual, and it is your journey. And the important thing to understand is it doesn't come to you. You participate. It doesn't come to you. So many of us are in a waiting mode in this human experience, waiting to see what's going to happen politically, waiting to see what's going to happen financially, waiting to see what's going to happen to our physical world, waiting to see what's going to happen in our relationships, waiting to see what's going to happen in our career. There's so much waiting for something to happen before we take charge, dominion, or step into our life, that the waiting becomes comfortable. Mm-hmm. And we start justifying the waiting. And as we justify the waiting, we start coming up with excuses why we gotta wait.
Mm-hmm.
Now waiting's a burden.
Yeah.
Look, I'm talking to myself here, Reverend Steve. I ain't talking to nobody else.
I thought you were reading my mail, my friend.
No. I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to myself. And let everybody know, whenever you come play with me spiritually, I ain't doing your work. I ain't talking about you. I ain't trying to change you. I'm not trying to convince you or impress you. I'm trying to be what it is that we all want to be.
That's it.
And me focusing on you doesn't help me do that.
Exactly.
Me focusing on me and being completely transparent with this relationship to spirit and how it works through me, that's the only way for me to do it.
That's it. I want you to hold that thought, Michael. We're gonna cut away to our second break, but you nailed it, and you've nailed it well, my friend. So we'll pick it up when we come back.
Yeah.
Give your home and yard a facelift with Olivas Landscaping. Olivas Landscaping can make a tired yard look fresh again. Whether you need one-time or recurring service, repair, or a whole new design, contact Olivas Landscaping. Call Patrick Olivas at 273-0142.
At Tree of Life Cafe and Bakery, our mission is to delight our guests by telling them the story of our great valley through our family and food. Tree of Life Cafe and Bakery is an urban cafeteria where slow food is served fast. Foods are prepared by hand, taking various dietary needs into consideration. We include gluten-free baked goods, dairy-free treats, vegetarian and vegan entrees on our menu. Not to be mistaken for a health food hut, we also serve the best bacon and homemade cinnamon rolls for breakfast and have an amazing meatloaf on our lunch menu. Try our homemade chocolate chip cookies or a homemade pie. Drop by and be part of our downtown Fresno family.
The Tree of Life is located near Chansey Park in downtown Fresno.
Clovis Bicycle is located at Bullard, Minnewawa and Clovis near Dollar General. Featuring kids bikes, cruisers, road or mountain bikes, and now featuring a selection of recumbent bikes. Check them out at clovisbicycle.com or call 325-2453.
Need raisins? Call National Raisin Company at 559-834-5981 or online at nationalraisin.com.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
All right, welcome back. It's New Thought Talk, and Michael J. Allen and I are continuing our conversation. Michael, I'm going to let you pick it up at this point because you shared with me on the break that you got some stuff that you really just want to knock this out of the ballpark, so to speak, or however you want to frame that. So go for it, my friend.
Well, I want to create an environment where me and other like-minded souls or thirsty, hungry, conscious beings want to come together and focus on a high vibrational experience for themselves individually. What that means is that you are coming, you are gathering, you are joining with the intention of having your own experience with God, but having that experience with God in the environment of others who want to have that same experience. And everyone's experience of God is uniquely different, but the environment that we create, the agreement that we create, the sacred space that we create together, that we participate in together, is something that continues to magnify our work as individuals when it comes together collectively. So the midweek heart, mind, soul workout I'm doing it for selfish reasons. I want to be with more love. I want to be with more open minds. I want to be with more awareness. And I want those who want more of that to come in and receive that, because the agreement to radiate God, we all get more of God. And the agreement to allow God to come through us, we all have more God to give. So we can absolutely give ourselves every opportunity to be Christ-minded beings, but we got to practice. We got to practice. If you don't take the repetition of the skill of prayer, meditation, letting go, chanting, writing, journaling, seeing beauty, playing in beauty, doing service, and giving to others, that muscle called your soul is just going to sit there. But the more you put it out in the world, I'm talking to myself, folks, the more I put me out in the world, in my vulnerability, in my openness, in my passion, in my fumbleness, but with the courage of knowing that I'm doing it in the relationship with God, then everything turns out. Even if I have conflict in the relationship, even if I don't get the job, even if things don't happen my way, I don't want to lose my relationship with why I'm here. Those things are things. And I'm relating to something greater than the experiences that are happening around me, because they happen because of something within me. They're not happening and I got to react to them. So I really want people to begin to understand. Reverend Michael teaches us so much. We have got to let go of all of the victimhood stuff. And we got to realize that no matter what we've been through in our life, God is. And there's evidence of that. You are breathing. You have thoughts, feelings, and emotions that you can relate to And that inner journey requires that you and I relate to those thoughts, feelings, and emotions in a way that we can make ourselves available, open, and allowing God to move through us, which means all of our dreams will come true, which means that we will have sustainable health and wholeness and well-being and abundance and prosperity. But it's because we're opening up to the many things that can come through us, because we're not stuck in the human side of it, the conditional side of it. We are absolutely open to the spiritual side of it, which is invisible. And that's another thing I want to talk about. A lot of time, I and many people want the evidence of what what we're asking for. We want the evidence of it going to happen. We want somebody to tell us, oh, we want the guarantee without the faith. And I know I've asked for something, I've asked for the guarantee, but I had no faith. So how can I get a guarantee if I have no faith? But if I have faith, I'll get a guarantee. And it'll come out that way. So there are many ways that I have to change the way I think, how I think, what I say, because energy follows that. So I have to be in alignment with how I'm communicating to myself and God, and then how I'm communicating to myself and others. And then when I go out and I bump my head, stub my toe, fall, do something wrong, make a mistake, smile about it and keep moving. But don't turn it into a scar that gets deeper and deeper. Learn from it and keep going.
Exactly.
And, you know, so this whole thing for me, Reverend Steve, is God is more real than the things that we see, hear, touch, and feel.
Yep.
And the things that we see, hear, touch, and feel are evidence of being in this human experience, in this human condition. Man, I just have a passion for how I want my soul to radiate. I just have a passion for how I want to be in the world with children and older people and peers, you know, how I want to be authentic. You know, authenticity doesn't mean that I'm always perfect and nice, but that I always have a place in me that's coming from a connection with God, whether that's sadness or joy. I never lose that connection because of a trigger or a feeling or a thought or an idea. I can never lose it. It never loses me. I'm the one that disconnects from it. And to get people to understand that, and to get people to hold each other accountable to looking for the God within, I think takes all of the drama out of life. My opinion. But if everybody,
you know, Michael, I agree with you completely. And you know, our journey is so intimately individual, and yet we have, as a society, been trained so much to look outside of ourselves. And I think coming together as a grouping, sharing the energy that is created and generated, you know, during an event like your midweek or a Sunday service, or whenever people get together in a spiritual connectedness, the totality of the energy is always greater than the individual parts that come to the arena, so to speak. And the most amazing thing is when people stop in the midst of what's going on and just take a moment to experience what is going on and not allow their thoughts to kind of run away with them about, you know, all this other stuff. But you stop, you take a deep breath, and you become aware. The energy is oftentimes it's palpable, and it's an energy that we've given lots of names to it, but love is probably the best descriptor that I know of. And you know, when you separate, when the meeting or whatever finally comes to an end and you separate, you don't leave that behind. You know, that goes with you. And I like the idea of the concept of a midweek tune-up, because, you know, from weekend to weekend, there's a lot of stuff that happens between there. And if you've got a place, you know, to go in the middle of the week where you can meet with like-minded people and you make this journey for yourself, through yourself, and to yourself, to self-realize a greater reality of who you are. It doesn't get any better than that. And, you know, that you have been willing to, you know, present this, to take the time to bring this to the Fresno area. You know, I want to thank you, Michael. With all the stuff that we've talked about in the things and stuff, I want to thank you for taking the time and the love and the energy that you've brought to the table and what you're going to continue to bring to the table. And I'm going to thank you now for the good that I know is already being expressed in Fresno as a result. So that's dynamite, my friend.
I got to be honest. I'm here for selfish reasons. I'm here because I want to grow. I'm here because I want to heal. I'm here because I want to practice the vibration of spirit and soul and God and love. I'm here because I don't want to do it alone. I'm here because I want to be a leader in my life. I don't want to have my life led by the world. I want to be a leader in my life. So I'm willing to come out and be vulnerable and work on myself in front of the world and work on myself authentically with people who can hold me in that and practice the principles that keep my vibration. Never get stuck in mistakes, never get stuck in what's wrong, never get stuck in what's right. Only be reaching for what the truth is revealing. I want to invite people, if they're going to come and play with me, it'll bring such joy to me. Just that somebody is willing to play in the spirit with me. No matter what circumstances, conditions you're facing, when we play in spirit, play in love, I know something good's going to happen. Because something always good happens in the foundation of love. And, that's the goal. The goal is not to get anything when it comes to spiritual practice. That's not my goal. My goal is to become a high vibrational loving being because love is the greatest power. And to live in that power in a vulnerable way, in a truthful, honest way, in an open way, I think it just radiates, it magnifies what God is. Now, in that, for me, this is what I believe, in that, for me, everybody around me needs to feel that vibration. And if it models something they can radiate with, they get to resonate with it and have it radiate in their life. So I'm working much harder to see life as energy, as opposed to the human things that get in the way of feeling this transformational energy. My work is psychology versus spirituality. And a lot of the psychological dysfunctional things in the world block the spiritual truth of who we are. And because these physical, psychological things are diagnosed and labeled, and you can describe somebody with them, and you can see behavior from them, people think that's more real, and they're stuck in those labels. My opinion. But what I'm learning in my own work is that the spiritual equivalent, the psychological pattern, is right here in front of us. So the transformation for anything that blocks us, holds us, controls us in our mind, there's a release in the principles of spirituality. People don't know that because these principles and spiritual principles that we practice in metaphysics and in the religious science world are not visible.
No.
And we live in a world where people want to see what's going to happen. They want to know what's going to happen. But that's not the journey. That's not that's what you want, and that's true. That's the way you're going to move to the world, and your life's going to be great. Don't get me wrong. But if you want to go beyond that, then you got to let go. And that's probably one of the biggest things I want to teach in a midweek workout. You got to come to the workout already letting go of what's in front of you that's holding you back. Don't bring it into the room. Let it go. Leave it in the car. Throw it out the window energetically. Take the thing that you know you're holding on to that's holding you back from being a great you and kick it to the curb. Get rid of it. Come into the spiritual midweek workout and fill that space up with the truth of who you are. Let your heart open. Let your mind get clear. Let's say some things in thought and word that become the energy you want to experience. Now, if you don't know what that energy is, you got to let some things go because something's in the way of it. Yep. You can't get new transformational energy hanging on to old dysfunctional patterns of behavior. You can't. I can't. I can't.
Absolutely.
So this workout is about identifying the things that stop you from being open-minded, open-hearted, from being patient, from being kind, from being loving, from being more thoughtful, from being more giving, from being more accepting, from being more receiving. It's because we get stuck in patterns of dysfunctional behavior in our social, personal, and business world, and it just clogs you up. By the time you get to Friday, you just want the weekend to get away from your life. That's wasting your weekend. But if you clearly live in a high vibration of truth, because you practice it, just like you go to the gym,
Yeah.
and you work on your body, you got to work on your inner being, just like you go to the gym and work on your body. In fact, I think even more so. But
Yeah.
you know,
No, you know,
a lot of just my opinion, not necessarily.
I appreciate that opinion a lot. We're going to cut to our last break, Michael, and we'll wrap it up when we get back.
Thank you.
This segment was brought to you by Pro Travel Network Fresno. For all your vacationing planning, call Jennifer Rogers at 559-317-6735.
Sarah Douglas is your reliable realtor with the Go Team at RE/MAX Gold. License number 019-806-76. Call Sarah Douglas at 559-259-3514 for a realtor who will go the extra mile.
Michael J. Costa Photography. With over 7 years experience in wedding photography and videography, Michael J. Costa captures those special moments and rare moments that last forever. Visit michaeljcosta.com or call 559-799-9632.
Prescription narcotic drugs can be addictive and dangerous to your health, but there is another way. Dr. Daniel Brubaker's mission is to help patients, caregivers, and volunteers make informed decisions regarding the medicinal benefits they may expect to achieve from cannabis and whether or not cannabis is right for them. Cannabis can provide safe, natural pain relief for anorexia, arthritis, asthma, back problems, chronic pain, diabetic neuropathy, fibromyalgia, glaucoma, gout, herniated discs, HIV/AIDS, inflammation, insomnia, joint pain, Tourette's syndrome, and more. Call Musculoskeletal Medical Associates today at 559-248-0116 and find out if medicinal cannabis is right for you.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Okay, welcome back to New Thought Talk. I'm Steve Walling, and my co-host is Michael Allen, and we've been talking about the midweek tune-up that Michael's going to be leading at the Spiritual Awareness Center. I'm going to give a quick plug for it. It'll be Wednesday, 6:30 at 4644 West Jennifer Street, Suite 101, and I'm going to be there, and I highly encourage anybody within the sound of my voice, so to speak, to be there. If you've had a chance to hear Michael talk about where he's going with this, it sounds like an incredible journey. Anyway, Michael, this is our last segment. We had sound go south. What would you like to your final thoughts to be for today?
My final thoughts, huh? If these were my final thoughts, they would be, and I mean final in my life, I would say to people, if you put your whole focus on truly what unconditional love is, how would that change your life? If you chose to love with no condition, no expectation, no judgment, no criticism, pure love, no condition, always flowing, how would your life be if you loved like that?
How would your life be if you let all expectations go of others? If you let go of all judgment and criticism? If you've forgiven yourself for everything you've ever done to hurt yourself and others? How would your life be? How would your life be if you let go of old patterns, old relationships, old addictions, old pains, old suffering, and reach for greatness? Greatness being that in this moment you can create whatever you want, but you got to be in the moment. What would your life be like if you hugged more? If you said, I love you more? If you spoke gratitude more often? If you learned to pray affirmatively, what would your life be like? If you said yes instead of no, if you said no, realizing that it needed to be no, if you had compassion for the things that you judge and criticize, if you embrace difference as the expression of God's creativity, not a division for humanity, what would your life be like? If you renewed your mind several times a day, what would your life be like if you monitored your heart being open several times in a day? What would your life be like if you only fed your body the pure things that you love? I don't know. But the question to become greatness, to become greater, to become Christ-like, to become more loving, you have to ask them, and then you have to go after the answers. Life doesn't come to us. It comes through us. Life doesn't come to us. It comes through us. And the only person that can allow life to come through us is you and me. Individually. God is waiting.
And that's the journey, my friend. You know, God is waiting. You know, I want to close. There's a line here in the textbook. It says, "So man must be created with the possibility of limitless freedom, and let alone to discover himself. On the road to self-discovery, he must be subject to the law of reality, and if in ignorance he violates this law, he must thereby suffer. This is not, however, because any divine decree ordains suffering, but simply because it's the necessity of the case. God never intended man to suffer. Suffer may be salutary in that it leads us to a place where we learn that that it is unnecessary, and we shall cease to suffer as we more and more comply with the laws of the universe. All suffering is the result of some infringement of these laws. It is a solace to the mind when we come to understand that all human limitation, from the standpoint of divinity, is within us. It's unnecessary. We recognize that we experience pain, but how could there be an eternal reality of pain? If this were true, we would have a suffering universe, a suffering God, an agonizing deity, all of which seems untrue, unreal, and impossible. And although we go through our life day to day and we get caught up in the so-called pain, the so-called suffering, the so-called obstructions and trials and tribulations, none of that is a result of some kind of divine ordination that we need to be experiencing this. It's just a result of where we have allowed ourselves to be in our mind, in our beingness, because the good is always there, the God is always there, and the love is always there. Taking time each week for yourself through your spiritual practices, taking time each week to connect with like-minded people, taking time each week to know that you are an expression of the divine and that God expresses through you as you. To know that, to experience that, and to be with people like Michael J. Allen who can model that for you. As Michael said, and he's still on the line, but as Michael said, he's not teaching you. He's not doing for you. What he's doing is bringing to this space what is. It's your job to make that, to take that step, to make that journey. Michael, I'm sorry that we had a little bit of sound issues at the end, but I appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward. We're going to continue these talks on an ongoing basis, and we're going to continue seeing you Wednesday evening at the Spiritual Awareness Center. I want to thank you again so much for your time.
Thank you.
So, anyway, take care. I will be in touch with you a little bit later.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
You also. Take care. Blessings, Michael. Well, we're wrapping up the show. I hope you got a lot of good information today from Michael. He is an incredible being, and he articulates so well his mission statement, if you will. And I encourage you to go back and rewatch this show. It'll be online here in a bit. You can find it at, we have a Facebook page, New Thought Talk with Rev Steve, and it'll be there. And we've got a lot more stuff coming on. Michael's bringing some really great stuff. The whole idea of just God expressing as Him through Him into this place that we call the Central Valley of California is an incredible thing. So stay with us, and I hope that you can experience all the good that you were created to experience. That is your blessing and gift from God. So as you go through the week this week, know that the light of God surrounds you, and the love of God enfolds you, the power of God protects you, and the presence of God watches over you. For truly, wherever you are, God is there, and all is well. Have a great week, my friends. We'll see you. Hopefully, we'll see you on Sunday at the Spiritual Awareness Center and Wednesday at the Spiritual Awareness Center for a midweek tune-up. Take care. See you then.